We focus on the fake news Donald Trump has been spreading on the campaign trail over emergency response. Here at France 24, Vedika Bahl with this.
Donald Trump isn't just ramping up his presidential campaign. He's also amplifying a series of falsehoods and misinformation about the government's hurricane response. In both Michigan and North Carolina, he incorrectly accused the White House of stealing $1 billion from the Federal Emergency Management Agency to house undocumented immigrants.
Some of them are murderers, some of them are drug dealers. 13,099 murderers came into our country during their 3.5, and we're missing $1 billion they gave them to the migrants that came in.
Though FEMA has a different budget for shelter and support services for immigrants, its funding for disaster relief is ring-fenced. And the agency's director has squashed the lie, saying FEMA has what it needs. The last time US disaster relief funds were reallocated for immigration purposes was in fact in 2019 under Trump himself, to bolster migrant programs at the southern border. Later, Trump suggested victims who lost their homes would only receive $750 in federal aid.
They send hundreds of billions of dollars to foreign nations, and you know what they're giving our people? $750.
But the $750 is designed for immediate relief for essential supplies. It's only part of a larger aid package to those devastated by the storm. The maximum amount of home repair assistance available to survivors is $42,500. His latest false claim accuses Vice President Harris of driving her campaign efforts whilst neglecting helicopters and rescue in North Carolina, though this was quickly debunked by the state's Department of Public Safety, which says operations are ongoing with over 1,600 personnel involved. Harris, for her part, has slammed her opponent as incredibly irresponsible for spreading falsehoods about the federal response, as just weeks remain till Election Day.
Vedika Bahl with that report. Donald Trump, it seems, making it up as he goes along. US President Joe Biden, he has spoken out over such fake news claims.
Those who do it to try to damage the administration. Well, we can take care of ourselves. But it misleads people. It puts people in circumstances where they panic, where they really, really, really worry. They think now they're not being taken care of. And it really is, it's going to sound, use an old phrase, it's un-American. It really is. People are scared to death. People know their lives are at stake. All that they've worked for, all that they own, all that they value.
Joe Biden there really come across as the voice of reason. Let's bring in our correspondent, Fraser Jackson, to explore this a little further. Fraser, great to see you as ever near the White House, as we can see. Lovely sunny day. Good to see you there in fine form. Tell us, fake news, how is the White House responding?
Well, the fake news over the funding has led to some tense moments between the press also and the White House. We saw a bit of a back and forth between the Fox News presenter here at the White House and Karine Jean-Pierre just on Monday. And it's something that Joe Biden himself has pushed back against. Last week, when these claims first started, he said Donald Trump was lying. He said it really angers him that Donald Trump does this because he said he doesn't care what he says about Joe Biden, but it is that misinformation which is impacting people on the ground, which really gets his goat, as it were. Well, Trump also made false claims, as we heard there, about Joe Biden not talking to the governor of these states, a lot of them Republican governors, and Joe Biden also pushed back on that, as did, it must be noted, the governors of those states as well. The Biden administration is keen to point out that they've been coordinating the federal response to this hurricane and the hurricane which is now en route to Florida, and have been effectively pushing federal resources into the area even before these hurricanes hit. That includes coordinating with Republican governors like Ron DeSantis down in Florida, who is somebody who's had choice words for Biden in the past, but has worked with him. And this despite not going to meet Biden when Biden was on the ground in the aftermath of Hurricane Helene just 1 week ago. But they have now been speaking on the phone, as we heard a little earlier. Take a listen to what Biden said at the end of that press meeting there.
The governor of Florida has been cooperative. He said he's gotten all that he needs. I talked to him again yesterday, and I said, no, you're doing a great job. It's all being done well. We thank you for it. And I literally gave my personal phone number to call. So I don't know. There was a rough start in some places, but every governor from Florida to North Carolina has been fully cooperative and supportive and acknowledged what this team is doing. And they're doing an incredible job. But we got a lot more to do.
Just to underline what Biden says there, the White House says that Republican governors are in step with what Biden is saying, but Florida's Ron DeSantis, and this is important because Florida is about to be hit by Hurricane Milton, hasn't been in sync with the Vice President Kamala Harris. Tell us more.
Yeah, this all came after sources said on Monday that Vice President Kamala Harris had been trying to reach out to Ron DeSantis to discuss the preparations for Hurricane Milton, which is now barreling directly down upon Tampa and its 3.3 million residents. Well, at first, Ron DeSantis said that he was not aware of this phone call, which led to Kamala Harris having some words for him on the tarmac as she boarded Air Force 2 yesterday. She said people are in desperate need of support right now and playing political games at this moment in these crisis situations. These are the height of emergency situations. It's utterly irreconcilable and it's selfish. It's about political gamemanship, she said. Well, that then got a reaction from Ron DeSantis late on Monday on Fox News. She was called delusional by the Florida governor, and he said she has no role in this. In fact, she's been vice president for 3.5 years, and I've dealt with a number of storms under this administration. She has never contributed anything to these efforts. But of course, this all happening now with one eye on those November elections. Both candidates are trying to use this storm to their political advantage. We saw Donald Trump in Georgia in the aftermath of Helene, and we are now going to likely be seeing Kamala Harris back on the ground in Florida once again. Once this storm hits on Wednesday night, early Thursday morning, she'll likely be down there, as likely will be Joe Biden now that he has cancelled his trip to Europe and Africa because of that impending storm.
Fraser Jackson, thank you. As always, Fraser Jackson, our correspondent there in Washington. We'll have more on the trail to November the 5th in our daily Zoom on the US presidential election. Let's go truthing or faking. Catalina